Next up, let's add the Pokedex component, which will then render a bunch of Poke cards. Let's start. I want to copy this data, just have it on my clipboard. And then I need to make the actual Pokedex file. So it's pokedex.js. And while I'm here, let's just do the CSS as well, pokedex.css. Then inside of the JS, I'm going to do my standard import. And I actually have a little shortcut, imrc will do that for me. If you download the extension called React Snippets, let me just double check, that's what it's called. Yes, ES7 React Snippets. It gives you a bunch of these nice snippets. So imrc will give you that. And I'll probably show some others as we go, but we're still early on, so it's good to get used to typing this from scratch. So we import React and component, then we're going to do class Pokedex extends component, and then we'll have our render, of course, and we'll leave it alone for now. At the bottom, always make sure to export default Pokedex. Next, let's get that data in there. So we're going to use default props. So that's static default props equals an object, and we're just going to call this key, maybe Pokemon, why not, and paste that in there. So Pokemon is this array that I copied from the instructions, or you could add in your own sample data here, but there's a great Pokemon API where you can load random Pokemon and get a lot more information. But for now, we're working with this. Okay, so we have all these Pokemon. Next, we know that inside of our render, we want to return at least a div or something that will store stuff inside of. And let's give this class name of Pokedex as well. And inside of it, we can begin with just an H1 that says Pokedex. And then we're going to loop through all of our Pokemon up here in the props and make a Poke card for each one. So we know we're going to need a Poke card. So we need to import Poke card from /PokeCard. Sounds like this word is just starting to lose meaning to me, repeating it too many times, Poke card. Okay, so we have that all set. Now we do our basic loop. We can do this outside of the return and make a variable that we render down here, or we can do it inline. So I'll show it inline first, which looks like this. This .props.pokemon should give us all of these Pokemon .map. Okay, and then inside of here, let's call each one P for Pokemon. Fat arrow, and then open parens. I'll hit return. We get some funky looking syntax with all these braces and brackets. I know it's kind of obnoxious. And what do we want to return here? We want a Poke card. We need an ID, so that's going to be p.id. So this is each individual Pokemon. We have a name, which is p.name. We have type, so that's type equals p.type. And then finally experience equals p.base experience is what we actually called it there. But I'm going to shorten it, as we've already seen, to exp. Okay, and then we need to make sure that we close this component like that, and we'll save. And fingers crossed, this should work. However, right now we're still just displaying the one Poke card inside of our app. So we're no longer going to import Poke card. Let's import Pokedex, the higher level component, which will then render all those Poke cards. So Pokedex, there we go. And then in here, we can delete this line entirely and replace it with just a single Pokedex, which doesn't take any props, and save. And there we go. We're getting all of our cards. So it's not pretty, right? They're taking up the entire line, but we have 8 cards, I think is what it is, from the Pokedex component. And that gives us everything that we needed to meet the sort of basic requirements here. So we have our app, and the app renders a single Pokedex. Pokedex renders 8 Poke cards using a loop. And that was it. So I'll leave this video here. In the next video, we'll talk about upgrading our styling just a little bit. And then after that, we'll do the further study. So the fancier images and introducing the Poke game component. Okay.